Welcome back, people, to the SPTC podcast. I am your host, Simon Phillips, and today I've decided to go without the fan. I risked it. It's much cooler this morning, so probably going to regret it very soon. But no fan today, no host today, another solo podcast for the SPTC community. We've got a lot to talk about. It might seem quite quiet, but as always with Chelsea, there's something going on. So I've rounded up all the latest news that's going on this morning. Obviously, transfer season, summer window is going to be the focus as it is at this time of the year. I'm going to speak about Pep Chavarria, that deal. I did just put out an article on that this morning. So I've covered the bulk of it in there. Head to sptc.news to get the full story on that one. I will briefly go over it in a minute. That's what I'll kick the show off with. And then we're moving on to Trevoh Chalobah, his future and what's going on there. We'll speak a little bit more about Garnacho's situation. I did cover that again in a video over the weekend. You would have seen that on YouTube and on the various channels that I have now. Again, a little bit more to add to that, and we'll just go over it again. And then we'll go on to centre midfielders and the situation there. There's some more whispers around Adam Wharton of Crystal Palace. So I'll go through again what I know and what the latest is there. And we're kind of going to move through the positions then. I'll speak about new strikers and current strikers as well, because there's a lot of them at the moment in our squad. You would have seen with the guys coming back to training in Cobham last week that, yeah, we do have quite a few strikers now in our midst. But come the end of the transfer window, how many are going to be there? We will talk about that in a minute. And then I'll just go over the general situations. I'm going to speak quickly about our former chairman who sadly passed away over the weekend, Ken Bates. We do have a tribute out for him today. Again, I'll talk about that much more in a minute. And then, as I tend to do with these little solo shows, I will end the episode not reviewing England, but I'll speak a little bit about the England game. But I'm going to really focus on the comments that were made after the game by Tuchel and Jude Bellingham, because that was kind of the focus of a lot of debate that I saw on social media afterwards. So you've got your subjects. Before we kick into those, obviously I'm going to need to plug everything because that's what we do. Really need you guys to sub to YouTube if you can and like this video. We're getting very close now to 1,000. So yeah, if you've not subbed there yet, please do. It's just going to help the overall SPTC community. Obviously, the more avenues we've got, the bigger we can make this, and I can finally get to those plans of growing the whole brand and hopefully bringing more people in down the line. I've been speaking about it for years. It's just not been feasible yet, due to where the channel was at. But hopefully, I'd love to bring more people in, and to do that, I have to grow all the channels. So please do that. Please sub there if you can, and like this video as well. And a reminder that I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, and I'm on X. Just search Phillips Talks Chelsea, and you will find all of those there. And if you're just watching on YouTube, I do have the main website, which is sptc.news. So please go there as well. And if you're able to, hit subscribe on there as well. I know it's a lot to ask, and I really appreciate it. The more channels I've got, the better, and the more it grows. So yeah, enough of the housekeeping. Let's get on to some news. I mentioned him, Pep Chavarria. Head to the website now to get the full story. But basically, the situation there is, is the same as what's happened with a lot of our transfer situations at the moment, where Chelsea have gone in with an offer. The club have not liked the offer, and they failed to meet in the middle. So at the moment, it's not over. The word that I got told by a source yesterday was that it was stuck. Negotiations were stuck. So that basically just means that they have yet to meet in the middle. Chelsea did send a second offer last week, and believed to reach around 18 million. But the confusing thing is the actual release clause that they're asking for. I'm not sure the exact amount, but I believe it's somewhere between 20 and 25 million. And they basically told Chelsea that you have to pay that, or they're not going to let him go for any cheaper. And I believe that one of the issues is initially his club have said that the release clause needs to be paid in full, which Chelsea and no club's really that keen on doing. So yeah, that's why it's stuck at the moment. It could still, reach a breakthrough at any moment because they are still talking. So even by the time you listen to this, there could be a breakthrough. But that was the last bit of information I've had on that one. Chelsea haven't turned to alternatives as such, but they've already been considering one, and I've seen his name come out in Spanish media over the weekend, and it's another exclusive that we had on here. Alvaro Carreras, obviously of Real Madrid, is a player that Chelsea have asked for information on. When Chelsea sold Cucurella to Real Madrid, they asked about this player, this left back. So they've done all the groundwork on him already, and he is someone that they could easily turn to if they decide to do that. Alonso, I believe, or I've heard from sources that he would also be happy with Carreras, but obviously Chavarria is the one that he asked for in that remit, in that valuation remit that Chelsea said that this is the money we're going to spend. So, find a left back around this kind of money. So yeah, Chelsea not keen to pay the fee at the moment, and there doesn't seem to be much leeway between the two clubs, but we'll see what happens. That could develop fast and it could change fast any moment there now, but that is where we're at. It's a bit of another frustrating one, and also frustrating that it's actually out in the public, and every little detail seems to be going out with that one. The next player we're going to talk about is Trevoh Chalobah. Obviously, last week we heard about developments to Inter Milan. At the moment, again, it's a similar story. They can't agree a fee. Inter believe Chelsea are asking too much for Chalobah, believed to be around 30 million. And Inter has said that at the moment they're not paying that. Again, another little bit of a standoff. But the interesting thing about this one is that because those developments are happening, I've heard from a source this morning that other clubs are now thinking that they can come in and get Chalobah. So Chelsea might actually benefit from this happening. It could, develop into a situation now where they get more clubs coming in and they might actually get the fee that they want. Como are obviously still there, and a couple of other Serie A clubs are still there, thinking that they can come in now and perhaps take advantage of the fact that Chelsea have yet to agree a fee with Inter Milan for Chalobah. Obviously, Chalobah has a knock-on effect because Chelsea need to sell him or a defender or two, ideally two, at least two, before they can then move on their new centre-back. And we know that the priority there is Maxence Lacroix from Crystal Palace. And Chelsea did start those initial conversations with Palace. I speak about this every week, so I don't need to go over it again, but Chelsea will reignite those talks and move them hopefully forward if and when they sell a defender. It's not just about money, it's also about creating room in the squad, and they need to make sure that they get player sales in as well because of no Europe, and we need a much smaller squad for Alonso to work with. On that subject, we could be moving a winger out soon. We've all seen that come out over the weekend. Again, I spoke about this in my last video in the quick updates that I did on Saturday. Garnacho situation, I'm not going to go into details again, but yeah, at the moment there's nothing advanced. It is just his agent obviously speaks to Fabrizio Romano. We all know that he is now trying to find Garnacho a new club, and Garnacho is not training. I guess you can say he's in the bomb squad. Players like Badiashile and Disasi also have not been seen in training yet at Cobham. So, their agents are desperately trying to find them a new club, and Garnacho is one of those. doesn't want to stay at Chelsea. Chelsea happy to sell him. Nothing new on Somerville yet. Still waiting for any developments or any advancements. But again, this isn't a situation where they have to sell Garnacho to get a new left-sided player. Chelsea have been looking at left-sided players all summer, really. And they have a host of other names that are not out there yet. So, they could easily turn to a different option. And they're also, as we know, looking at hybrid attackers, attackers that can play on the left, or another, versatile option who can play in a different position. So, it's not... It's at the start of this story, so there's more developments to happen on this one. And Garnacho, I believe that that could develop soon. But again, they're going to need someone to pay the asking price, which is around early 40s, early 40 million, that kind of range. Roma, as I said on Saturday, only offering a loan at the moment with an obligation. Chelsea are not dead against doing that, but it would have to be on their terms. Moving on to midfielders. I mentioned him at the start. Adam Wharton, there's been a few whispers, not from my sources, but from other outside sources over the weekend of Chelsea reigniting talks or talking again to Wharton and Palace about a potential move. But I've not heard anything new on Wharton at the moment. I just know that he is the guy that Chelsea really want. So he's like their first choice for the midfield position, but they have to sell Enzo Fernandez and Andre Santos, and then they can move on midfielders. But at the same time, Wharton's asking price is too high. So if they go for him, his asking price needs to come down. So that, I've not heard anything since a couple of weeks on that one. But yeah, open conversations with Wharton's agents. That's been happening for a long time. Wharton was their first choice target for midfield. It's a lot like Morgan Rogers. He was the first choice target for the left hybrid attacking role. But the fact is, Chelsea aren't going to pay the asking price for either of those. So unless something happens, unless Chelsea do some kind of unofficial trade deals with them, or unless the asking price comes down, then none of these players will be coming to Stamford Bridge this summer. And the one to watch still in midfield for Chelsea is Alex Scott. Once Santos' situation develops, Chelsea are expected to try for Alex Scott. Again, I don't know what Bournemouth are asking for him or whether it's feasible. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But Alex Scott is the main name that I've heard in midfield in the last week or so. These things change so quick, though. It's so important. I don't understand when people don't understand that, how things change very fast. It really puzzles me, because of course things are going to change. We've seen it already. Chelsea were, with Granit Xhaka, how quickly that situation changed and how quickly the narrative spun on that, and how he, wants to stay at Sunderland and this, that, and the other. It's just normal, and people need to understand that. Striker situation, I did write about that on the website yesterday. So again, if you want to head back to there and read more on it. But the reality is Chelsea have a lot of strikers now. Amiga's come in. You've probably seen his training images and videos last week. So Emmanuel Amiga was at Strasbourg last season, and Chelsea have now signed him on a permanent deal. His situation is rather open at the moment. Likely a loan move still, but I've been told that Xabi Alonso will be assessing him and Nicholas Jackson in pre-season, and he'll make a decision, basically. So that's another reason why things change, because Alonso's got so much power now. Since he's come in, he might have changed a few plans and a few moves that might be happening. So Chelsea have still, they've been looking at new strikers and weighing up new strikers all summer. So, they do have a list. They do have a short list of names that they are looking at. But Chelsea are going to have to sell at least two strikers possibly 3. If a new one's to come in, or they could, Alonso could decide that he wants to go Jackson, or he wants to go with Amiga, or even Delap. Maybe he likes Liam Delap. Probably not, but as I reported on Liam Delap yesterday, he doesn't want to leave Chelsea. He's desperate to stay. He wants to prove himself. He wants to, prove his doubters wrong. I rate the attitude there. I do like that. I think it's good. He doesn't want to give up, so that's fine. That is good. But Chelsea, more than open to selling him because they've been disappointed with his first season, as has the majority of the fan base. So yeah, his situation is rather sticky at the moment, and he's going to have talks with Chelsea very soon. Talks with Alonso, and see what the plans are for him. But obviously, if they tell him that he's not wanted, then he's not going to force a stay or anything like that. He's going to be open to moving on, because essentially it will be about his career. He's going to have to put his career first. Although I did hear again that he's happy to be a squad player this season at Chelsea if it means him staying. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Delap and Amigo and the rest of the strikers. It's all talks at the moment, and it brings me on to my next subject. Actually, at the moment, a lot of situations and plans are going on behind closed doors, and as I said a minute ago, Alonso is having a big say in all of these discussions and plans. And he's got his first press conference today, I believe at 3 p.m. off the top of my head. Today, or that's Monday afternoon. So he's going to be taught. He's going to be asked questions about some players, I'm sure, and I'm sure he'll also be diplomatic, as they always are. But I'm looking forward to hearing his first words, first press conference words, I mean, as Chelsea boss. So that's exciting. Hopefully we can look forward to press conferences again rather than dread them or just get bored of them like we have done with past managers. Not going to go back through that. But yeah, so Alonso is heavily involved in plans and talks, and that's what's happening right now behind the scenes. Pretty much every day they're talking about different things, and they've got a lot of situations to sort out, a lot of players to sell, move them out first, and then they can hopefully start bringing in some new players. But again, every week it's another week, so the longer this goes on, the more time is running out. But we're nowhere near panic stations yet, and hopefully they still do back Alonso. Anyway, guys, those of you that are here just for the transfer news, 18 minutes, you can duck off now if you want to. I will not be offended. But yeah, I'm going to quickly speak about Ken Bates and then the England game, just to round things up. So please do stay with me. It gets lonely, especially without the fan now as well. But Ken Bates is obviously, he's a controversial figure. Understand that. And, there's been a few Chelsea fans that did have fallouts with him, and he's a very opinionated guy, and he clashed a lot with Chelsea fans. But at the end of the day, this is a guy who is deep in Chelsea's history. He literally saved the club at one point, and he's done a lot of good for Chelsea. You will see in the article today, written by one of our community members, Craig Corran, you will see some of the players that Batesy brought in, some of the managers that he brought in, and you'll see the effect that he's had on this club. And he deserves our maximum respect and love at this sad time for those around him and everyone who adored him. It was sad. He's had a good innings, as they say. I believe 94 years old. So he's done a good stint. But yeah, it was sad, very sad to hear that news come out on Saturday, and all the tributes that come out as well following that. Is really great to read those. You'll see in this article by Craig that there's a lot more tributes coming on Ken Bates, and it's really nice to read his thoughts and his memories on Bates. Some really good stuff in there. I've also added a few of my own comments in there because I grew up in the time when Bates was in charge. I was born a year after he took charge of Chelsea. So, I grew up in the Bates era, I guess. So yeah, I do remember a lot about that time, and it was very, very happy time supporting Chelsea for me. And I always go back to sort of the 90s and early 2000s and think of all the best memories that I've had supporting Chelsea so far were all during that time when Bates was our owner, our chairman. So yeah, a lot of happy memories for me as well with Bates, and yeah, always have a place in my Chelsea heart for Ken Bates. So sad news. I'll finish up with England now. Semi-finals on Wednesday. Argentina, my God. There's been a few classic Argentina and England games, hasn't there? Hand of God is one of them. And then the David Beckham sending off. And some of those games live in my memory. Yeah, so it's another big one, really big one. I watched the game. I watched the Norway game. I reviewed it yesterday. So again, I'm not going to go into it, don't worry. But yeah, head back to the website if you want to hear my full thoughts on England and how I thought they did and Tuchel. But we got there. It was very lucky, but we got there. But Tuchel's comments after the game, I like it. I do like it. We've always said, and we speak about this with Chelsea as well, we like to hear a coach or a player be honest, right? In live interviews. Sometimes they've got to be a little bit tactical. They're not just going to come out and say that this is on a Chelsea perspective. When a manager comes out and tells us that, oh my God, Liam used to do this all the time, didn't he? Tell us that a player is world class, and we're like, no, they're not, mate. That does get a bit tedious, but I understand at the same time why they have to do that. But I was refreshed to hear honesty from Tuchel after the game because England were crap. They were stupidly lucky to get through. I'm not having the we got handed decisions and all that. I'm not having that rubbish, but because their goal should have absolutely been disallowed. It was a correct decision. But we were crap and we were lucky to get through. So Tuchel was right. Bellingham was wrong. But at the same time, initially I thought, that's disrespectful from Bellingham. But then I thought about it some more. And I thought, again, he's just being honest. So if I'm preaching that I just want to hear honesty and Bellingham is just being honest in what he thinks in his head anyway, then I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. And you know what? I think Tuchel would be fine with it as well. I think he'll disagree, but I think he'll agree to disagree with Bellingham. If that's how Bellingham saw it, which is wrong, by the way, because it wasn't like that. But again, I get why he's saying that. Then I think Tuchel's just going to respect his opinion. I don't think there's going to be any big fallouts. So, yeah, it's fine. I liked hearing honesty. I think it's good. And, hopefully it will spur them all on to prove Tuchel wrong and show them what they can do in the next game. Harry Kane needs to do that because he was shite in that game. He was non-existent. But next game he's going to turn up and win us the game. Yeah. Is it coming home? Let me know in the comments. I still don't think it is, but I'll humour it. Argentina are going to be the toughest game we played yet, and our defence is so bad. But yeah, I mean, Messi alone could destroy it. But I wasn't expecting us to beat Norway, and we did. So you never know. Maybe it's coming home. And that is where I will end this show. And again, just ask you if you can please like and subscribe on YouTube and hit me up on all the channels I mentioned. Just search Phillips Talks Chelsea. And also go to my website, sptc.news, because that is where you'll get my full exclusive transfer news. All of the stuff that I get goes out there first, and it will be much more detailed than this 25-minute podcast, which I'm going to talk just for a little bit longer so I can get it to finish on exactly 25. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Bye-bye.